So today's video we're turning this
I'm becoming tired, I will bring the shots back fire, don't give a fuck on the desire. My goals will be acquired
into this.
I'm becoming tired, I will bring shots back fire, don't give a fuck on desire. My goals will be acquired. But now I'm focused, can be sure.
What's up guys, it's 5K Beats here, and today's video I'm gonna show you how to mix rap vocals easily. So let's hop right into it. Okay guys, so let's hop into the project. As you can see here, this is the entire song. So on the top it's the beat, and on the bottom it's the vocals, and this is what the mixer looks like. So here it's the beat mixing, and here it's the vocal mixing. Today we're gonna focus on the vocal mixing, but I know it looks kind of complicated, but it isn't so complicated, and I'm gonna take you through every single step that I did. But first, let's listen to the track.
What you cooking?
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name.
So yeah guys, this is what the track sounds like, and I'm gonna show you the entire process that I did for the vocals. So sit back, take some popcorn, it's gonna be a longer video. I hope you learned something new, and let's hop right into it. So first I'm gonna take the hook part here, because this was the section that we are gonna focus on today. So what I usually do is I start with the mixing of the beat. So in this case I already made the beat before. The artist hit me up and said I want to do something on this beat. I sent him the beat, and then he came back to my place, we recorded, mixed it, mastered it and everything, and this is the final product that you can see. So the beat was already mixed, so usually I start mixing the beat first, and then I focus my entire attention just to the vocals. So I'm not going to show you how I mix the beat. If you want to know this, I already made a video about here how I mix my beat. It's going to pop on the top right here, and watch that video and see how I mix my beats. So today we're going to focus on the vocal mixing. So usually what I do is I have a separate track here just for the recording part. So the entire recording happens in this track here, and then after that I put it back into the rap, second voice, hook and every part that I want. These notes here were placed afterwards, after the main structure of the vocal was done. So what did I do? First, let's start with the rap section.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name. Don't hear me wrong, I got nothing to claim, but I know clear where I belong. Now stop play, put my girls on aim.
So yeah, this is the raw vocal, and now I'm gonna show you what I did. So first of all, I started with an EQ, cutting all the low end because I want to save that space for the bass of the beat, so I don't need it in the vocal. So you can see here that it's just one, but you can't really hear anything. So that's why I cut all the low end up to here. And these are just some harsh frequencies that I heard on the voice, and I want to correct them.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name. Don't hear me wrong, I got nothing to claim, but I know clear where I belong. Now stop play, put my girls on aim.
So it's like a kind of whistle in the background that really annoyed me out.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane.
I just made a few cuts guys, for 1-2 dB, not more, just to clean up the voice a little bit. After that I added a second EQ just to boost up the high end, because I want the high end to be a bit more crispier. So I'm gonna take it out and show you the difference.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name.
So as you can see, it is much more crispier, and the vocal becomes much more clear, so you can understand the vocals a bit better. But don't overdo it, because afterwards it will sound quite harsh.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name. Don't hear me wrong, I got nothing to claim, but I know clear.
As you can hear, it is quite harsh, but just a few dBs should be right.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name.
After that, I added just some fresh air to do the same thing with the EQ, but in a different way. I like this plugin, it's free by the way, and it gives the vocal a bit more air, a bit more breathe to it. Makes the vocal much more clearer, crispier, and it just sounds good.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name. Don't hear me wrong, I got nothing to claim, but I know clear where I belong. Now stop play, put my girls on aim.
So for me, it just sounds better, and I want to keep it that way. After that, guys, I just use some compressor.
I've been hung for way too long, it's drowning me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name.
So in this case I'm using the Fab Filter C2, but you don't have to use this one. I just like the way it looks and I prefer this to the Fruity Compressor, but you don't have to use it. You can use it the Fruity Compressor too if you want. And the compressor is really not so complicated than everyone thinks. So in general you have 4 knobs that are universal on all compressors. You have the threshold, the ratio, the attack and the release. And you have usually also a gain knob. So let me explain you what the compressor does in one way that I understand it. So imagine you are in your room listening to loud music. Your mother calls from the bottom of the kitchen to turn down the music because it's way too loud. As a good son that you should be, you turn down the volume. So the threshold is the level that your mother starts thinking, okay, this music is too loud, you should turn it down. So it's the moment your compressor starts acting. After that you got the ratio. Your ratio is your first attempt to turning down the volume, is how much you turn the volume down after your mother told you. So a high ratio is so you turn it down a lot. A lower ratio, you turn it down a bit. The ratio 4:1 is quite hard, but 2:1 is acceptable, let's say. It's not that much. So now the attack. So the attack is the time that you took after your mother told you to turn down the volume. So let's say your mother shouts from the kitchen below, turn down the volume, 1, 2, oh okay, I have to turn down the volume, and then you turn down the volume. That's the attack. How long you take to turn down your volume after your mother tells you. So a slow attack in this case is like 4 milliseconds. And then the fast attack is everything below. And in general the release is how fast you turn the volume back up after your mother tells you. So when your mother tells you to turn the volume down, you wait a little bit, you turn the volume down. After some time, you will turn the volume back up because you like your loud music. And that's the release. So in general, threshold, the level at which your mother thinks the volume is way too loud, I'm gonna tell you to put it down. The ratio, how fast you put it down in the first place. The attack, how long you take to put it down after your mother tells you. And the release, how fast you put it back up after you already put it down. I usually just invite you guys to take a compressor, take a simple melody loop or drum loop and just play around with it and just see what it does. One important thing is the gain knob. So in this case, because you're turning something down, you have to put the volume back up, and that's with the gain knob that you do.
I've been hung for way too long, it's drowning me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name.
As you can see here, the vocal is quite gone. Barely hear anything from the vocal, and now I will increase the gain.
It's drowning me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name. Don't hear me wrong, I got nothing to claim, but I know clear where I belong. I stop play, put my girls on aim.
But as you can hear now, the entire energy of the vocal is gone, so it's really compressed a lot.
I've been home for way too long, it's drowning me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name. Don't hear me wrong, I got nothing to claim, but I know clear where I belong. I stop play, put my girls on aim. I've been hung for way too long.
This sounds much better to me. To get the optimal effects, you have to listen to the same dB level. So let's listen to the vocal without compressor and let's look at the dB range.
I've been hung for way too long, it's drowning me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name.
It's between -18 and -50. So now let's put the compressor on, and with the auto gain, let's reach the same amount of dB.
I've been hung for way too long, it's drowning me insane. I put my grind modes on,
So now as you can hear and see, you have a higher dB range. So now let's just take the auto gain down because it isn't always perfect, like 3 dB or 4 dB.
I've been hung for way too long, it's drowning me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name.
Okay, now you can turn the compressor on and off to see if you like the changes or not, so it's much better to hear. Because if one is louder, your brain automatically thinks that it is better, but that isn't always the case. Louder doesn't mean always better. And then after that, I just use some saturation to make the vocal a bit more present without increasing the volume of it.
I've been hung for way too long, it's drowning me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name. Don't hear me wrong, I got nothing to claim, but I know clear where I belong.
So if you got headphones on, you can hear the difference. It is quite subtle, but you can hear the difference on the higher presence of it. So yeah guys, after that, I just put some Maximus on because the sound can be really harsh sometimes, especially if you put the gain up afterwards on the master. So that's why I just took the S sound away. But I warn you guys, don't overdo it, because otherwise it would sound like this.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name. Don't hear me wrong, I got nothing to claim, but I know clear rap along. I stop play, put my goals on aim.
So just play around with it. What I like to do is I go down to Maximus, it's a free preset on FL Studio. Go to presets and then De-esser, narrow band or split band, you can choose the one you like, and just play around with this knob here.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on.
And that's pretty much the entire vocal chain, guys. So in general, EQ, a little bit of high end with fresh air, compressor, saturation, and de-esser. After that, I just added some ad-libs and reverb, and I usually recommend to just use a separate bus for the reverb, delay, and everything, because with that you can maintain the presence of the main vocal and just add a tail with reverb or delay with it. So just make a separate reverb bus with one reverb on it, put the mix of the reverb 100%, the decay as you want, the same with the delay, and afterwards just connect your main vocal to the reverb bus and send it back to the master.
I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will. I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane.
So after that, guys, we added a second voice, some ad-libs that I processed a bit differently, because on the ad-libs you don't usually need these two EQ here with the high presence and everything. Usually for the ad-libs everything is narrowed down to the ad-libs, what the ad-libs sound like. So this is the vocal chain for the ad-libs, so it's just telephone effect. I did the same with the accent word, and I just copied the compressor from the main vocal. So the two compressors here, I just copied them over here. Same attack, same everything, same thing. So yeah, so just the EQ and the compressor, and I routed them to the reverb, this time a bit longer, and to the delay part too, so it really makes it bigger and wider. And yeah, guys, after making this for the entire song with the artist together, I leveled everything, mixed it down with the effects that I showed you before. This is what the final product sounds like.
Turning me insane. I put my grind modes on, I will make me a name. Don't hear me wrong, I got nothing to claim, but I know clear rap along. I stop play, put my goals on aim. I've been hung for way too long, it's driving me insane.
One main tip, guys, that I can tell you is the performance of the artist is way important. So if the artist is kind of insecure and doesn't want to, then you cannot mix the vocal properly just because the artist is mumbling all over the place every time that he speaks. Performance is quite important. That's why we took all these takes here with some separate stuff, and afterwards I just mix matched everything. See, okay, this sounds great, let's put this together with this part, this sounds great too, let's mix match it that way. I did that with the artist together, so it's not my opinion but the opinion of the artist. So yeah, guys, was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram to see my beats, and if you want to buy some beats, click the link in the description down below to check out my beat store and all the good stuff. And then let's see each other in the next one. Bye.